Donald Trump will become the 45th President of the United States of America, enter the White House on Friday, will take the oath of office in the Oval Office. Okay. Remember, the election was a big upset. So, what can we expect? I'll begin by saying I really don't know. Trump has made so many contradictory statements along the campaign trail. He said so many things. He said many things that contradict what his fellow Republicans believe. Okay, so that makes things much more complicated. So it's going to be wild. Tin hat mode, some people call it. I expect lots of volatility, that's for sure. What kind of there are two things that markets focus on. I mean, things that repeated themselves in his rhetoric. Let's start with the bad things they're worried about. So markets are worried about trade wars. He was bashing Mexico with illegal immigrants and car companies, but also other companies moving their factories to Mexico. He was bashing China for being a currency manipulator, although there's a consensus now among economists that the Chinese yuan is actually overvalued, not undervalued. Okay? And they're worried, of course, that less about economics, but politics, but also economics, that there will be less support for NATO, for Europe, and getting too close to Russia. In general, that this could disrupt trade. These worries existed, well, were very strong before the elections, somewhat disappeared after the elections, and now are making a comeback. So that's one aspect, the trade wars, the trade issues. The other aspect is fiscal stimulus. He promised to cut taxes, spend more, not on Obamacare, but on Medicare, at least not cut it, Medicaid for older people, many of them Republican voters, and also to spend more on the military and to spend more on infrastructure, okay? So basically, spend, and cut taxes to stimulate growth. Markets really love that. They were ignoring it before the elections, but after Trump won and the Republicans remained in control, markets focused only on that. Okay? So that's the good thing that could happen for markets from Trump's presidency. But last week he finally made his first press conference after he won. Actually, sorry, the first press conference since the month of July, when he was officially nominated by the convention. And it was a mess. First of all, well, I don't know if you've seen it, he insulted many people, journalists, and for markets he bashed companies. So the worries about trade wars strengthened. And in addition, there was no mention of fiscal stimulus. That's why we've seen the dollar fall. And in the meantime, the new Congress, new House, new Senate are in session, are in work. It's a fully controlled Republican government. And what they're focusing on is repealing Obamacare. I don't know what they're going to replace it with, but at the moment they're working on repealing that. They're not working on a tax plan, not working on any infrastructure plan. Okay, so that's also a point of worry. So far, Donald disappoints the dollar. Okay, the dollar rallied a lot, the Trump train, and now it's being derailed by the Donald. Let's talk about the inauguration on Friday. So from the time of this show, it's, 3 days to go. The inauguration begins at 5 GMT. That's more or less when European markets close, okay? Many presidents have prepared executive orders, signed executive orders on the first day in office. It includes Obama, it includes everybody. Will we get some planned executive orders in advance? Will they tell us? We're 2-3 days before the event so far. We've heard only general promises about Obamacare and to do many things on day one and afterwards, but we haven't heard of actual executive orders that are prepared for signing. Will Trump talk stimulus in his speech? Remember, there's a big speech there at the Lincoln Memorial. when he takes the oath of office, and he might make a special announcement also afterwards from the Oval Office. Will he talk about fiscal stimulus? Will he fix what he wrecked in the press conference? That's an open question. Another open question, will markets have time to react? Okay, so if he makes a big speech at 5 GMT when we have the ceremony, then and he talks also about the economy, markets will surely have time to react, including forex markets. But if he signs executive orders, it depends on the time. It can be at, I don't know, 8 GMT, for example. US markets will have a narrow chance to react. But if he'll do that afterwards in the US evening, or on Saturday or on Sunday, then markets will be closed. In any case, Monday will be very busy. Even if we have an initial reaction to the ceremony, to initial executive orders on Friday evening, we will have the full analysis of them and more of them, and more action on Monday. So I would recommend against leaving open positions or leaving them with very limited leverage, because we could have a very busy Monday. And again, to conclude, here's Trump with, a sombrero. Markets played down trade wars before after the elections. Markets believed stimulus with the unified government, that Trump, riding on his victory, can pass whatever he wants. But remember, Republicans are a bit reluctant to go for government spending, at least. Maybe tax cutting, yes, but spending less. Question I'm asking myself, are we back to the pre-election state of mind, basically state of fear from Trump? Europe is scared of Trump's Putin romance. Many see Trump as a Putin puppet. Okay, China, the Chinese president Xi Jinping made a speech in Davos yesterday in which he talked in favor of globalization, okay, in favor of free trade. Okay, so the communist country talks about free trade. Anyway, China is ready to retaliate. In any case, for forex markets, I know most of you, all of you, that or refrained from hitting the Mexican peso. Watch that space for the biggest action, because so far the Mexican peso has been the most sensitive currency to anything Trump related. That's the Trump trade, and I think it will remain so for quite a while. But in general, I would say that Japanese yen, dollar yen, is the safe haven currency. If Trump's inauguration is scary for markets, watch for a big downfall in dollar yen. If it's very positive, watch for dollar yen to rise. In general, the dollar is set to rise if it's more stimulus, less trade wars, and will fall if it's more trade wars, less stimulus. Dollar yen is the main currency to trade, and the Mexican peso is sensitive. I would also mention that the Canadian dollar would be sensitive to anything, to both things, because Canada depends a lot on the United States.